Hey Jonah, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. We're going to go through and talk a little bit about mechanics and kind of stop and look at a couple key spots in the delivery. We want to look at how we're starting. We're going to look at sort of how our lower half's working as we work down the mound. Then we're going to stop it at foot strikes. So right when that left foot hits the ground, how are we looking, and then ultimately how we're following through, how we're finishing. All right, so basically the whole key of pitching is to get consistent. We want to make sure our mechanics are repeatable. We want to make sure we're getting ourselves in a nice healthy position to deliver the ball. We want to make sure that we're using our lower half to generate our power and our velocity and not our upper body. Alright, so we just want to make sure that we're able to time ourselves. We want to make sure that we're using that lower half, and then that we're just finishing out front and looking nice and healthy. Alright, so we're going to go and look at how you're starting. So much of how we start dictates how we're going to finish. If we're not starting very well, we're not going to be finishing very well. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward to that. This first one kind of cuts off your wind up a little bit, so we'll move to this next one. Okay, so from the wind up, the biggest thing with wind up and pitching is we want to eliminate big movements one way or the other. We kind of want to keep our head over the rubber and just kind of keep it from not moving too much. I mean, it's going to have to move a little bit, but as you watch, you step really far out, that head leaves that box, and as you come back, that head comes back into the box. Alright? So just kind of watch with yourself with that big kind of movement. Usually we're going to like to see either a small step backwards on the mound or maybe even a little bit to the side, but usually we don't ever want to step in front of the mound here. Alright? So that's just, because sideways, you're just moving that head sideways off the target, down the middle of the plate, then you're coming back. If you kind of just step backwards, you're still kind of over the plate. If you're going sideways, that just kind of moves you too much. So just something to play around with and just kind of just clean up a little bit. Alright? But other than that, that's just kind of an easy little fix. Okay? Next thing we're going to look at is where you are at your balance position. So basically where that legs comes up to its highest part. Alright, so it's about right here. Alright, so you have a pretty good position here. We like to see this knee closed off a little bit. Alright, you got a good angle in your leg. One of the things that we like to do is to drop this glove and put it a little bit closer to your chest. Alright, when it's up and out, your hands are just going to have to travel a long ways to break. So you're going to watch, see how that ball kind of pops out early? So right here you can probably see it from the batter's box. It's just early enough where you want to make sure that that glove's still with that ball. Alright, so we're just going to drop the hands down a little bit, and then that cleans up that timing. It's going to make it a lot easier to time that break, that ball path, when it's farther down. If you were to come out your hand right out at your ear, then I'd say keep your hands up high. But when you have that drop, you got to lower that glove a little bit. It's going to make it easier to time. Alright? So just kind of work with those hands a little bit. Alright? Once we get in this position, we want to make sure that the first movement forward is at our hips. We want to make sure that the hip is leading our body down the mound, and we don't want to have this knee kind of swing open to take us down the hill. Alright, so as you can see, you kind of lead with that hip, which is good. Alright, you're driving through, so that's pretty good position there. We just want to make sure that this hip area are leading us down that hill, so you're doing good there. Alright, so as you're coming through down the hill, alright, we're seeing this front foot stay closed, which is good. Alright, and what you're going to see yourself do a little bit is you do have a little bit of swing in that left foot. Alright, you're going to watch yourself come down here. Alright, and if we were to draw a line from kind of our ball of our foot on that back foot, it's kind of tough to tell what's going to be straight for you. but you can kind of see that you're popping that foot open a little bit. Alright, you're really opening up at your landing. Alright, we want to try to make sure that this front foot's in line with this back foot to even a little bit closed. Alright, all that's telling me is that you're just leaking your hips early. You're just swinging that leg open. We just want to try to keep this closed, so you kind of your knee closed a lot longer. You know, even in this position, your knee still hasn't really even come open yet. You know, maybe now we're down to there, and we're still popping. You know, we haven't popped open yet. All right, so that's just something to kind of work on. Come set up on the mound, draw a straight line to the catcher, and just kind of work on and seeing where you are around that line. You know, we don't want to get too far away from it. We don't want to get too far closed off of it. Alright, so that's just something that just leaks your hips. Alright, so you're losing the power opening up early. Okay, so now we're going to look at foot strike. Alright, so right when that front foot hits the ground, which looks like about right here. Alright, you see that your arm is lagging. Alright, your front side's popping open a little bit early. What we want to try to see is get this ball back at this angle some here. You want to be able to get up on top of the ball, so now you're driving the ball downhill. Alright, in this position you're just going to push the ball. See how your elbow kind of drops here? Alright, when your elbow gets below that shoulder, that puts a lot of extra strain on that elbow. Alright, so now your elbow's below and you're pushing the ball forward. Alright, we want to try to see this position with your elbow, the ball up above the elbow, back here. Alright, so you're just lagging that arm behind. Alright, just let it pop up here a little bit earlier before you rotate forward. So all you got to think about is just moving that ball quicker onto your glove, getting it up on top, so then you can drive that ball down the hill. Alright, you're just lagging a little bit. Then your arm's going to have to drag. It's going to drop below that shoulder, and you're going to put right here is just straining that elbow a lot more than it needs to be. All right, we want to try to see you get that elbow, you know, with more angle downwards. All right, instead of that forward push. All right, and with that front side leak here, you know, basically at this position, we want to try to see you somewhere around, you know, here, and then that front side's going to be matched up too. Alright, so you're just leaking a little bit early, and what that's going to do is you're going to see yourself pull off that back leg, and you're now releasing the ball. So at release, alright, you got your head over that back heel, your foot's come off the ground, and you're at about almost a 90-degree angle with that back foot. Alright, at release, we're going to want to see you driving all the way through that back foot. Alright, creating a little bit more angle here. Alright, your head's going to be farther out over that front foot. Alright, and then you're going to pick up a little bit more of release. Alright, and all that is that we want to try to get this head and this chest out over that front foot through release. So you just got to stay through that back leg a little bit longer, through that right foot. You know, and even every time you're playing catch, you know, even in the mirror or just doing dry work, just work on really finishing that head and that front foot out over that, or that chest out over that front foot every time. Just driving through those legs to get yourself out over that front foot. You just kind of see yourself kind of crumple up and collapse. We want to try to get long and drive out front. All right. So other than that, you know, I mean, just work on getting that ball up, getting that ball out of the glove, and getting it going higher. You know, starting with that hand a little bit lower is going to help you out. And it's just a matter of using more of those legs, staying closed longer, and you're going to be good to go. So hopefully you had a great time at camp. We thank you for coming out. Hopefully you're having a great season this year, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.